Hi, Shannon here from houseimprovements.com, and today we're going to have a look at the ICF forms. They've all been set up for the basement here at the cabin project, and we're going to get right into it. Okay, so like I said, we're back here at the basement at the cabin. We've got our ICFs all set up. Now, I shouldn't even say I didn't do any of this. It's a contractor that I've hired. This isn't my specialty, so I'm just giving you this video to give you the general idea what you should expect if you hire someone to do this. So ICFs, what are they? They're insulated concrete forms. These particular blocks are 4 foot long and 1 foot high, and I believe 13 5/8 total thickness. On the outside, obviously, you've got your styrofoam core, and inside you've got all your red ties. So this is what holds everything together. And built into the outer edges where all these ties are, there'll be basically a plastic stud or strapping, so that when you go to finish your basement, in this case, we don't have to frame anything inside. We can just drywall right to the foam and screw the drywall into these metal seams. So that's kind of a nice thing about this. It saves on framing your whole basement or anything. Any electrical gets routed into this foam and set up that way. So it's pretty nice for that. So you've got your blocks, you've got your ties. As they're building the rows up, row by row, they're going to lay rebar in. Now you see there's a top, in the very top here, we've got a double row of rebar and some verticals, which you see right here. They're just dropped down in there. Now, all the rows below, they'll have a single piece of rebar. I believe they're probably overlapped by 12 inches in the rows. I don't see a lap right here, but 12 inches in the rows. But all the rebar are going to be on the inside side of the form here in all the lower rows. And that's because your pressure on this basement, I mean, you got downward pressure obviously, but the inward pressure is coming from the outside. So you want all your strength on the inside of the form here, so that when you've got that pressure coming from outside, it's giving you that, I don't know if that'd be tensile strength or whatever. It's giving you the strength you need along with the concrete to offset the outside pressures, because obviously you don't have any fill or dirt on the inside. Okay, so they stack the, actually here's, you can see the top of one of these ties. I don't want to pick away at it, but I thought maybe I could show you that. There's no damaged ones around here. Actually, here's one down here. So you can see kind of see the stud exposed right here. So that'll run right down top to bottom, right down through the form. Okay, so they basically, like I said, start out with the bottom row. It's really important that your footing is level and flat with these, especially because that's what you're starting out on. Otherwise, you've got to do some shimming and messing around, and that's not going to be any fun. So you got to make sure the footing's flat. They'd start out with their corners. Now the corners are, I don't know what exactly these ones are. Looks like they're 2 foot by 1 foot or 15-inch legs on them. And each corner you just flip-flop that. So if this corner's got the long strip on this row, that next one's gonna be turned the other way and have the long leg this way. Okay, then they fill in between. Now if this doesn't work out to the exact, because I think these are 6-inch centers by the look of it, so if it doesn't work out to the exact block, they've got to cut the blocks, which can throw out where your stud piece is inside of there for hanging drywall. So they try to keep that to a minimum and try to keep it all in one area on any wall that has that. I don't think this one should have worked out that they don't have any splices, just because of our dimensions. It doesn't look like there is any. If there was anywhere that they had a problem like that, and this isn't that reason, they just had a void in the block, but if this was a spot that had the joints, you would have to put some wood, usually 1x4 or 2x4 or whatever, strapped across those joints inside and out. Otherwise, you're going to have the form blowing out when they fill it with concrete. Okay, so they just keep stacking things up. I don't know what these guys do. Doesn't look like they do it maybe on the corners. Some guys will add spray foam in the corners, in the joints. I don't think these guys did, but some companies will ask to spray foam your corners just to help kind of glue things together. So on the outside, as they got things up here, you can see they've got some strapping and stuff on the corners to tie the corners together. They've got a roll around the top just to keep the top good and solid. And then inside, you've got all these vertical braces that basically sit down on the footing and run up the inside of the forms and get braced back. These would be I'm sure they're a turnbuckle. Yeah, you can see there's a turnbuckle or a threaded area on the end. It's staked into the ground. And they can just simply twist those cross braces and adjust the length of them, which will plumb your walls back and forth. So that all just hooks right into the bracing system that comes for these. And as well, it's integrated into a walkway, a gangplank basically all the way around the inside. So it makes it nice for pouring and working on once you're up at this level. You can see we've got two window bucks. That's one of them over there. We'll go over and have a little closer look at that. So with the window buck, they just put in a wood framework in here to make up whatever window size rough opening that you need. And the wood part, the perimeter parts, that'll stay in there. So then the window itself will get mounted into that. So they just, all they do is cut those blocks wherever that needs to be and put it in there. Now, in our case, we have our window pretty high. I think we were shooting for like 4 inches of block up here. And then there'll be the sill plate here and the floor joist system on it. Because we're so high, this isn't really going to be a structural element above the windows. So when I do my rim joists, you'll see it in that video for the floor joist system. I will actually have my outer rim, but I'll also have another 2x10 on the inside of it, spanning this window, sitting on top of the plate that'll be bolted down to the concrete wall. And that's just basically to form a header above these openings. So, okay, so we've got that detail. What else can I show you? Here's the block out they have for the beam. So we're using a steel beam here, and they've just simply screwed this block in, so it'll end up leaving a buck here, or an opening in the concrete for the beam. Whoa, for the beam to sit into. And that's maybe a little hard to visualize right now, but once that's all done, you'll have a better idea of how that's going to be. Okay, so I think I see they've got a ladder leaning over there. So I think I'm going to go over and just have a look around down below and see if there's anything I can point out to you there. Okay, so now I'm down in the hole. I think there's a little bit of an echo now, so my sound probably has changed, but at least I'm down out of the wind down here. So like I said, they've got all these adjustable braces here. So once they have everything set up, they can tweak the walls, put a string line on them, tweak all the walls, and make sure everything's staying plumb. And you can see here they obviously use a pipe wrench to adjust those. So when they're pinned into the ground, they've just got a simple rebar pin made up that they can pound into the ground and brace those back. So we're doing 8-foot walls here. So we'll actually be a little bit less than that, because when they pour the floor, it'll be sitting on top of the footing around the edge. So we've got 8 foot of styrofoam ICFs, and we'll lose 4 inches to the floor in this case around there, but not a big deal. We'll actually gain 1.5 inches when I put the wood plate on top of the wall. So really we're just losing 2.5 inches. So no huge deal there. Pretty common. There's not too much I can really show you down here. Maybe just zoom you in a little bit closer on some of these braces, how they're just sitting down on the footing, and a little bit of a look at the cross bracing. And that's about it. So you can just see how they're just sitting right down on the concrete there. And I don't see any shimming at all, so obviously the footing was pretty darn level. This is just how the braces all connect in here. Pretty simple system, really. It's pretty effective. It's pretty effective and pretty quick. I'm not sure. I bet you they probably set all this in, I'm guessing 6 hours. I don't know, I wasn't here, but I don't imagine it took them too long by the time they got things set up and got going. So here's our other window opening. So once we have a floor in here, we'll be standing where the windowsill is probably around, what would it be, like 5 inches off the floor or something like that. So not 5 inches, 5 feet, probably not even that. We're just trying to keep them up out of the ground if possible, or as much as possible. And I'm just counting here how many rows of blocks we have. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So they are 12-inch. For a minute there, I thought there was more than 8 rows. So I thought maybe they were only 10-inch blocks or something, but I was wrong. Okay. Well, I don't think there's too much more I can show you. We've got our ICFs ready to pour. I believe they've got a pump coming for tomorrow. So when they pour this, they're going to pour it in lifts, is kind of the term that most people use. All that means is they're not just going to set up and fill this wall over here right to the top and then move over and fill that wall. They're going to, that's the nice thing with the gangplank all the way around. They're going to probably fill, I imagine, 2.5 rows of block, and they're going to work all the way around, okay? They're going to do some vibrating, most likely just a vibrator on the outside of the form, not actually down in the form like you typically might be used to seeing. Then once they've done that first round, they're going to start again, and they're going to go around. So they'll probably do this in like 3 lifts and get it all done, and then basically just trowel off the top, vibrate it as usual, and yeah, they'll be done. So I don't imagine it's going to take them too long tomorrow to pour this. They're pouring, I don't know, I think they said about 10 o'clock, so I'm sure by noon they're probably going to be close to done, depending if the pump shows up on time and how long it takes to get set up. So anyways, I plan on being here, so look for that video, and we'll see how they pour these.